Hey guys, what is up? So today I am doing a video which I feel like is a surprise to some, but I feel like once you know, it's probably not that big of a surprise to others, and that is a Meet My Alters video. If you guys don't know what an alter is people that have multiple personalities, dissociative identity disorder, which I've actually talked about quite frequently. I feel like this is another video that's going to come up and people are like, oh, Trisha jumping on another bandwagon, Trisha trying to do this. In actuality, I've talked about it plenty of times. I've talked about it on a TV show, even Reels TV, where I was doing a it was like a documentary thing on Marilyn Monroe, and I went to like the place where she had her first photo shoot at Zuma Beach, and I was talking about DID there. I dated a girl who also had DID, and we talked about it a lot there. She has alters, multiple personalities, and yeah, I feel like it's something that I don't necessarily delve into or even talk about. I definitely tell people in my real life. So many people ask, do you have a disorder? Are you diagnosed with something? Are you bipolar? Are you schizo? And I'm like, honestly, I've never been diagnosed with anything. The closest thing that I have self-diagnosed myself, I guess, is multiple personality disorder or dissociative identity disorder, or both, because there's some differences, there's some similarities, and some people just think they're like all same or all completely different. For me, I consider them quite similar, but I think my disassociating comes differently than in the form of my alters. So I feel like the alters are my multiple personality, and I feel my dissociativeness is in a different realm, and it usually only takes place, I guess, under Trixie, which I guess that's disassociating, because like another alter is coming to the front. This is not something that, like, I don't want to scare people, and in general, I guess I don't really tell people the extent of it. My own shell, Trish. Unfortunately for me, Trish, I never really formed my own personality. I always thought I kind of was like taking other people's personalities, or borrowing, or becoming like my friends, or becoming like my boyfriends, or becoming around the person I'm around, which I still do to a certain degree. And I feel like Trish, if anything, disassociates the most without disassociating, if that makes sense. So people know me as Trish, like they see me as eccentric, they see me as something different every day. And I feel like, yes, I disassociate, I guess you could call it that, into Trixie, one of my alters, but in actuality, I disassociate in general by becoming who I'm around. And I feel like that's very noticeable. When I was in England, I started having like an English accent, and I don't think everyone with DID has this. I don't think everyone with multiple personality disorder has this. I don't think they just become someone else. I think Trish likes to. I think me, I never was able to develop my personality. But that's fine, because I have others that are there. And unfortunately, I'm someone who can't just choose, and if anything, I don't talk about it a lot, because I'm not as in tune or as in touch with my alters. I know when I feel it. I know, for instance, T, who I've actually talked about before on this channel. I can't remember what the video title was. It was when I was like not identifying as a boy or a girl. This was before my trans video. Someone, I'm sure, will be able to find it and leave it in the comments below. But yeah, I definitely wanted to go by T. Like, I didn't want to be a human. And T comes from... It's so funny, because like I talk about them, but I'm talking about them as me. And it's like, I don't know. It's like... I guess they don't come to the forefront as who they are, but I think of T in my head, and I'm like, oh, this is T right now. This isn't me. But like, if they just don't come to the forefront. I've watched a lot of videos of this recently. Most recently, obviously, Anthony Padilla did this, and I was like, oh shit, like I really wish I knew when they were coming to light. Like, I know, and sometimes it's minutes. Sometimes it's like a minute and then it's gone, or sometimes it's like a full day and I'm in that. But T is definitely the protector, is definitely non-human, is definitely not of this world, and so it's not really him or her, it's T. And T is the one that always like has, like, I say he, but like, because in my mind it's he, but it's not, is the one to be the strength, be the confidence. Everyone's like, Trish, how do you have so much confidence? It's like, well, it's T taking over Trish, because like what you guys see is Trish. Like this is, hi, Trish. If you go to my Instagram, it's @Trisha. But yeah, but definitely prefer T all the time. And he comes and goes, and there's that. Today, Trixie decided what we were wearing. Trixie has been my twin since, Trisha's twin since 7 years old, maybe even before. My earliest recollections is 7, and I would tell people about Trixie and people did not believe me. I came back to my mom and my mom was like, she doesn't have a twin, like I don't know what this is. And I talked about Trixie from about 7 to 10 before people were like, you don't have a twin, what are you talking about? But Trixie is definitely my twin, and when I stopped talking about her, we stopped. I feel like Trixie's trauma began at 10, and that's when I stopped talking about her. So I feel like Trixie kind of just got stuck in that, and I feel like some people say I live in my own fantasy world or I need to grow up, and Trixie is that one. And like, again, I know this sounds like weird because I've watched people with the same, it's not a feeling, it's the same struggle. I don't know how to describe it. To me, I don't consider it a disorder, but the same beings inside of them, and they're able to more come to the light. And I don't know if mine come to the light necessarily in voices or mannerisms sometimes. And it's like I said, it's like I can't just sit down now and be like, all right guys, come to the center, you know. I think that is just more evident by just looking at my different videos. And so many people will joke in the comments like, what Trish are we getting today? In actuality, you are getting different personalities inside of Trish. So this sounds crazy. I sound like I am losing my mind. Because when I watch other people talk about it, I'm like, they're crazy. Like I watched the Anthony Padilla one, and there's a girl, Disassociated or something, I think his name, she's British, and like I watched it and I was like, oh, like she seems crazy, but I know that's like what I sound like now, which is actually like really scary. But I'm just trying to explain. Again, this is pretty much self-diagnosed, but it's something that I definitely have distinct names for all my personalities. And like, I always just thought of myself, oh, I'm just Trish, but that's not the reality of it. Like, there is other personalities inside. I'm not always confident, that's T. I'm not always strong, that's T. Yeah. So there's also 2 other twins that live in the Trish shell, and that's Tyson and Tierney. And Tyson is very much my sensitive emotionalness. I feel like he doesn't come around as much anymore due to trauma that happened last year, and I feel like that's when he kind of got cut off from showing more in the front, presenting himself more. And also that has to do with Tierney, who is, it's just weird to talk about like other people as if they're like not here, but they're like there. Tierney's catty, slutty, lies a lot, but mostly for attention, never ill-willed. And Tierney's the only one that has defined sexuality. T doesn't have a gender, but is considered to be asexual, as opposed to Tierney is homosexual. And he struggles with that and picks on Tyson a lot because Tyson has feminine qualities, also struggles with gender identity like Trish. So yeah, so I think just the picking on was a lot. And yeah, and unfortunately Tierney comes out quite often. The catty side has subsided like the older we get. But still, like, in the promiscuity has subsided a little bit the older we get. The lying has subsided, and it feels almost like he's dying in a weird way, and it's like really sad because he's scared Tyson away, and now Tierney, and they're twins, you know. So it just kind of gets like scary. And it's almost like when you start feeling like someone's dying with inside of you, like one of your personalities, it's like you're dying or you're losing someone. It's really hard to explain. So I feel like sometimes my onslaught of depression comes from that. It's just like missing those two very important people. It's so weird to talk about this because, like I said, I'm not able to present on demand. Like, I woke up and Trixie was in control and to the light, and I love her so much, and I care about her so much, and I care for her so much, like so much. But it's like, I feel like Trish is definitely the performer and definitely the entertainer and the presenter, and Trish is the one who kind of takes in all the identities and personalities and be like, I'm just kind of eccentric, or that's just me, or it depends on how I'm feeling, or definitely likes to put us down more so because there's just, I don't know how to explain it. People want to like label me something, and I think some people confuse it with like schizo, but yeah. So the one that I've known the longest is Tibulter, and Tibulter came to me as sort of an invisible friend, I guess. At first everyone thought he was my invisible friend. This was very young, and he has been always with me, and he is the one that has the eating disorder and can't control our eating, I guess you could say. It's really crazy because I can control my eating, and then when Tibulter comes around, it's very like I need to eat every single food because he's like, I haven't been able to enjoy any of the food we've eaten. So he comes around like right after I've eaten, and then he's like, I'm starving, I'm hungry. Or I'll come around when I'm trying to diet and think, I'm starving, I'm hungry. In general, we all take really good care of our body, but Tibulter just wants to keep eating and eating and eating, and that is literally his personality, is food. And it's hard to explain other than like, he just can't stop eating. Like, it's just, that is his personality. That's all he wants to do. He doesn't want to watch TV, he doesn't want to have a hobby, and he only comes to the front when it's time to eat, even if it's not time to eat. So if I'm sad, if I'm happy, if I'm disassociating, and unfortunately we all have to eat and we all share the same body, but for some reason it's almost like he's very not human because he doesn't get full. And he doesn't understand the concept of life in general. Like, you know, we all like understand what we do, and that's cool. Like, I think we get it. Trish is our performer. Trish is, but definitely we all have says in it. We all have says. We all have say-sos in it. And Tibulter is the only one who just does not like performing. Like, even when Trish do mukbangs, Tibulter won't come around. He'll come around after, and sometimes he'll be like, oh, now I gotta order food for him because he's hungry. It's very weird and very scary, where it's like, even if I'm not hungry, like my body's not hungry, like when he comes to light, we eat. And it's very weird, and it's very bizarre, and I don't even know if that's considered a personality. But Tibulter has been an invisible friend before. Tibulter is someone I think about, I dream about, I see vividly, and it's my struggle. And I've actually, it's been the only sort of alter that I've put a name to besides Trixie when I was a kid, but I've definitely had a name to him. And an NT, I guess I talked about once in a video. But yeah, that's kind of I mean, that's kind of all of them. I think it's kind of a weird, like, it's kind of like a weird thing to talk about. I feel like I've talked about it before, and I think I've talked about DID specifically before as just disassociating in general, like disassociating at the point of trauma in my life, disassociating like with dark times in my life, and I feel like I've been so in and out of disassociation with myself that I really have become, Trish has become all the personalities without even them coming to the forefront, if that makes sense. So I don't need to, I've seen people like do switches. Sometimes I've switched and it's Tyson or Tierney that'll always come out. Tierney can be really mean and harsh and just all of a sudden just hate the person in front of me, even if I, Trish, love that person, or, you know, and that's ruined a lot of my relationships. Tyson's very sensitive too and will come out and start crying for literally no reason. And so those two boys have definitely been the downfall of a lot of my relationships. So some people call it bipolar, borderline, but it's really, to me, just multiple personality disorder, I guess. But I think it's something that's in my mind, and it's how I deal with life, I guess. And I don't want to like scare anyone, because like Trish is here and all my alters love this, you know what I mean? And we all support like Trish. Like in a way, Trish needs all of us because she doesn't have her identity and she doesn't have a personality, and we help her and we help her try and find her own, and sometimes she finds something that's her own, and sometimes it goes away, and sometimes she'll find something else and it goes away or it stays. And it's just that like love thing is like the hardest, is to find someone to love through the disassociation, love through the switches. And part of me is like, maybe I'll never find someone like that, and that's okay. And I don't even know if like I said, I briefly dated a girl who had it, but she only, like, I never saw her switches or anything, or her different personalities. So I don't know, but the thought of it is so scary. And then when I see the intensity of the people who do switch and who can just be, you know, someone else, like visually, like, I don't know if I could date someone like that. So I don't know how I would expect someone to do that for me. But anyways, I just thought today was one of those days where it was more prominent for me that I've had T, Trixie, and Trish all come out. So I was like, you know what, let me just talk about it. It's something that, like, when Anthony Padilla brought it to light and like this girl's channel, I was like, you know what, it's something that people don't talk about, and I feel like it's something that actually a lot of people might deal with and maybe not know, or maybe it's not as serious or severe as other people's, and it's just like, oh, that's what it is. And I don't really like labeling myself anyways. People always like, oh, what church are we doing today? And I don't mind that. Like, okay, just think I'm crazy, or just, you know what I mean? And that's fine. And I'm sure after this video, people want Trisha, yes, but yeah, I don't know. And that's just, again, it's just me and the shell and the human body that we are is Trish, and that's fine by me, and it's fine by them, and I just give them names because I think of each of them as very important people in who I am, and who you guys, some of you guys like and love and relate to. And yeah, this is another really scary one to put out because, again, I don't want to like offend anyone at all, or like mock anything, or make fun, or make light of. Some people think I make light of like Brittany's mental health. Like, that is the last thing I make light of. I have so many problems and so many issues, and I don't consider this a problem or an issue, really. I don't. It's really just us. It's just what it is. You know, it's just always scary, to be honest. And I just feel like saying your truth helps. When I watch those other people, I was like, oh, other people are like this too. And I just kind of get a lot of hate for it because maybe I present different people differently. Yeah, so anyways, I hope you guys, this is a very different video, but yeah, I hope I helped some people in some ways. And again, I mean no disrespect at all, ever. And maybe that explains a little more. I like to share a little bit more about myself, and this is something that maybe I wasn't even completely understanding of, and not even that I didn't think was even that big of a deal. I'm like, oh yeah, I have personalities and they have names, And I'm like, maybe it's just my imagination. Maybe I'm just being creative. But they're real people and they're real personalities, and we all live in one fabulous body. If Gibraltar could just stop eating sometimes. And hopefully he doesn't get back, because sometimes he gets sensitive too. There's not a lot of sensitive ultras, but definitely Tyson, definitely Gibraltar. They are very, 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 very sensitive. And Trixie, even though she's 10, she's pretty mature. So. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. And I will see you in the next one.